gentlemen, brothers and sisters, young couples,
lovers,
young couples of the world. Don't say lovers. I hate that word.
It's disgusting.
It's so gross. Don't say that word ever. We hope you are having a wonderful Friday. Happy Friday to all of you guys. We hope that it is going to be a tremendous weekend. It's going to be huge. It's going to be tremendous. And it's going to be tremendous for so many reasons. But for one of those reasons, I believe, is because it's National Something Day. Isn't it, Liz?
It is. It is something National Something Day.
Well, are you going to tell us what that National Something Day is?
Do you want to guess?
I might be here for a few hours trying to guess this.
There's so many random ones out there. There's many things today was. But
Well, here's the first question. Who makes these up? Like, who does this? Is there like a National Day committee?
That'd be funny. Let's see.
Like, does someone get paid to just make up BS, like, holidays?
It's not BS.
Okay, but, like, come on. There's probably, like, National, like, Big Toe Day. Like, there's got to be, like, the craziest days out there for the dumbest things.
The website is just National Day. It's called National Day. There's National Day Radio, National Day
What if there's
calendar.
National Day?
Probably.
Did
There should be.
Did you look up who makes National Days? Or did you just go to the website?
I went to the website.
Okay.
Zuvio Inc. is the website. Is the
So
trademarkers of the
irrelevant.
I don't know.
So irrelevant.
Anyways.
It's like saying, who makes the information on Wikipedia? No, Wikipedia does.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because each day, the website collects it from all different people.
Wonderful.
And the origins of each national day.
Just get to it.
The website. I've been trying. This guy's pushing my buttons.
Yeah.
He is.
Just a little bit.
A lot.
What's the day?
The day. September 15th is National Double Cheeseburger Day.
Wow.
I know.
It's a shame that you hate cheeseburgers.
I know.
So this day just is kind of irrelevant for you.
Yeah, it's double irrelevant for me.
That was
Get it?
stupid.
It was good. You chuckled. But yeah, so one of America's favorites, National Double Cheeseburger Day, recognizes a food icon savored across the United States. That's the fun little.
I looked up recently what like the healthiest options were on the McDonald's menu, and it also on the same article gave me the top 10 worst things on the McDonald's menu. And I think number 2 is the double cheeseburger. It's
Best
one of
or
the
worst?
like worst. It's like one of the worst things you could buy.
I understand it. Here's my question.
Which is unfortunate because I love the double cheeseburger. From
Why do you
McDonald's.
need 2? Like, just order 2 cheeseburgers. Who had him double it up?
Well, why would you want the extra carbs, but you want the extra meat?
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
But think about In-N-Out, where you can get like a 3x3 or a 4x4.
That's insane to me.
Those are pretty monstrous.
That's insane. Where is the best cheeseburger from?
I think In-N-Out.
I think I can agree because I don't like burgers of any sort, but I will.
I can agree because I hate cheeseburgers, so I don't have an opinion.
As a person who hates cheeseburgers, I hate cheeseburgers the least from In-N-Out.
Wow.
Yeah.
But have you tasted like a Five Guys cheeseburger?
I get the hot dog. Is Five Guys better?
I didn't know they had a hot dog.
You can put anything
That's
you want
bad.
on it.
That's so bad. You go, oh my gosh.
If you're going to like a cookout in
I mean,
someone's
this-
backyard, if there's hot dogs and cheeseburgers, I will be eating a hot dog.
Yeah, that and just the cold pasta. What?
Cold pasta?
Yeah, like those like mixed pastas that they have. at, like-
Macaroni salad?
yeah, macaroni salad, cold pasta.
Okay.
Same thing.
Right.
It's gross. Who likes that? And like,
It's good.
it's. I think it's overrated.
I think baked beans are good. That's
Yeah,
a
baked
good
beans
side.
are great.
Yeah.
But cold pasta is just, it's got to go. We got to get a new dish out. Same with potato salad. I feel like I used to like potato
Me
salad, but
too.
it's just such a fatty food.
I don't know if
I feel like I have like 2 bites of it and I'm like,
Mhm.
yep, I'm good for like
Yeah.
a year.
fruit salad.
Okay.
All right. Anyways.
Well, anyways, I definitely think that In-N-Out is like unanimously probably the most popular, but I know there's a lot of people who hate on it for being like an overrated cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But I got to say, like, I just don't agree. I think it's just immaculate.
It's simple.
It's simple.
Is
but
it
it's
the
just
sauce that makes it?
A little bit, but I just think they cook the burgers really well.
Mm.
It's never like a dry meat. It's always like a nice,
It's
juicy-
consistent.
Yeah. And I like to
They
get
got the
I get
consistency.
the protein style with the lettuce wrap. So I
Double
don't do
double
the-
protein style. National double cheeseburger day.
I do.
Double.
Well, I guess that we're going to have to go get cheeseburgers. That sounds pretty good.
I heard In-N-Out
you can get
has
your corn dogs and hot
I heard
dogs.
In-N-Out has grilled cheese.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for the kids, but I guess that just fits right in line for you and your brand. All right. Well, that's wonderful. Well, in other more important news, this day in history is actually Harry Styles' birthday.
Oh.
So happy birthday, Harry Styles.
Happy birthday, Harry Styles. Did you guys know that Jer is actually like one of the OG One Direction fans?
Wait. Hold on.
Why?
I am so sorry. I screwed this one up again. Not Harry Styles, Prince Harry.
You're really annoying. It's not this.
This is how disconnected I am from the social world of this kind of stuff. I literally read it as it said Prince Harry, and I went Harry Styles.
Why did you do that?
Because they're like the same guy.
That's so much less exciting.
They're
I'm not even a Harry Styles like, woo, I stan. I think stan's the word, right? Is that a word?
Huh?
A Harry Styles stan. Like you're like a giant fan.
Wouldn't that be a
super fan? Stan.
Okay. I don't fan. No, yeah, it's Prince Harry.
But
September 15th.
That's so much less exciting now. You just like messed up the whole build up for him.
Sorry.
We celebrated the wrong birthday.
Well, he got an extra round of applause from us. But it's definitely Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex.
Sussex?
Sussex, yeah. I like to pronounce my E's accentuatedly. Yeah, it's his birthday today. He was born in 1984. So happy birthday, Prince Harry.
Happy birthday,
Hope
Harry.
all of those, all that drama around you guys and your Spotify deal and Meghan Markle's deal with Spotify and everything. Hope everything turns out okay.
I don't keep up with the UK.
Well, Meghan Markle definitely makes the news way more than Prince Harry does.
True.
She's kind of out there. So anyways, very fun. So cool. Love to hear it. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for sharing your mess up. But
now you guys can go out there, have a double cheeseburger, and
read Prince Harry's book.
Read Prince Harry's book.
Happy birthday. Just like that.
I think my wife should go into ASMR. That would be her.
All right, I won't. That's all you guys
side
get.
Hustle. All right. Well, anyways, guys, we got a great topic for you today. We are pretty excited about it. We're talking all about community. And we got to talk about it because we know that it is an extremely important aspect in your life, regardless of if you're single, if you're dating someone, if you're married, you got kids, you're a parent, you're a grandparent, whatever stage of life you are in, community matters regardless. So we got to break this down into a few different things because there's a lot we can talk about with community. And there's probably a lot of questions that we could answer as well. But I think the first one that I think we should start with is what even is good community? And then what does also bad community look like? I
mean, for starters, before you think where we should start, here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
I guess we're going to touch on that later, but I feel like our society has such like a negative impact of like community. Like we're so self-centered now.
Yeah.
That so many people think of like, what can I get out of community opposed to how can I contribute to community and also just like be a part of something.
Yeah.
It's so self-centered. It's like, what can I get out of this? It's just, I don't know. It bothers me so much. But I think a big part of like finding a good community is first getting rid of that mindset. And like really, I feel like most of the little tips we give is like, first check yourself, but like honestly check yourself.
Yeah.
You really should be looking for a community to also like what you can contribute and what you can be a part of, opposed to something that can just pour into you and fill you up in the ways that you desire it to be.
Yeah.
But good community, I think a big part of it is finding a good group of people who are in the same season as you. It'll vary from stage to stage of your life. It doesn't mean if they're not in the same stage, they don't have to fit, like they just don't work. Mm-hmm. But I think it is important to continue to grow that community out in different directions. In a manageable way, of course. Don't just like drop it and be like, I need 12 more people over and like who are all having kids now and things like that. But yeah, and then also just a group, like a good community is someone like a group who is uplifting, you guys are holding each other accountable to stuff. You're open, honest, your values, your morals, your beliefs are all aligned with one another. Depending on if you guys are doing like the same things or different, it honestly shouldn't matter. You're like still supportive and involved in each other's outside lives.
Right.
And you guys all are focused on like serving one another and being there for one another.
Yeah. I think it's actually really important. I know we already kind of like jumped into this, but I think it's also really important for us to dial in on what we actually mean by community. Because I think that over the last couple of decades, the idea of community has dramatically shifted from being one of your, like I would even say like neighborhood. Like neighborhood, you like your neighbors, that used to be most of your actual community. You know, the people that you lived right next door to, you would see them on like a consistent daily basis. You know, before we had cars and garages where you could literally zip right past your neighbors, go straight into your house, shut the door and never see them, which I see happen with us like all the time with our neighbors. You would have to like walk past their house. And a lot of people had like porches and decks, and it was like the coolest thing in the world. You know, they would sit out front and reading a book. You're
not just sitting on your phone all day watching
the banjo,
TV.
Watching the sunset, having a cup of tea, whatever.
Playing the banjo.
Playing the banjo.
Just going back to that.
But I think that's how it's, you know, been for a long time. And that, obviously that like exact structure is not how it's always been. But for the most part, before we invented all these things where, I don't know, I think that we've like almost like redesigned homes to where you don't see porches anymore, which we were actually just in Philadelphia. And one of the cool things that we noticed in one of the complexes or one of the areas where we were helping it's not our brother-in-law, it's my brother's brother-in-law. We were helping them move. And the new house they were moving into, it was like very small homes, but they were all vertical and then they were long. But every single front door had a porch to every single house. No joke. If my brother made a joke about it, but he was like, you can't like gossip about the neighbors because they can have their windows open and hear everything you're saying. You just can't do it. But it's just so cool because it's like, no, like that's awesome because you can hang out up front and see all of your neighbors.
And I feel like those neighborhoods give you a reflection of like what it used to be like big time. You're just like, you guys are with each other. You are right next to each other. You see each other every day.
Yeah. Because those homes have been there for probably well over 100 years.
Oh yeah.
And the way that it's designed definitely is made to be more community. But now it seems like we've almost redesigned and restructured what neighborhoods look like to where we want more seclusion. We want more space. We want more land and acreage. We want more privacy. We don't want anyone to see into our lives anymore. And so we almost like do it to ourselves by like pouring into this new design structure of like having a private life. We've kind of shifted from that old school mindset of being able to like live within the community and hang out with it, and have now realigned with this idea that you don't need that. All you need is a phone and all you need is a Facebook account. And that's considered community. And I think that's really dangerous and really, really harmful to us as individuals.
My brain didn't even go there. As far as like a lot of people probably consider their community online, which is...
Yeah. Like there's like, we just have to remember like what true community means, because even Facebook, like it's called friend requests. Random people will send me requests all the time saying, I want to be your friend. But like, what does that mean? You want to look at my posts that I put out there and pretend that you know me as an individual? Like it's kind of like how, for instance, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, like their life is put on blast and so many people know about everything that they do, but they don't know all these people. That's not actually community. That's just people that's your audience. And so I think that we've kind of intermingled the terms community and audience together, and they're not even close to the same thing.
Yeah.
So what we mean by community is we're talking about the actual physical humans that you interact with, hopefully on a daily basis, but if not on like a weekly basis, that are doing life with you. Yeah. So that's what we mean at the root word of community, so that we don't want to get any confusion with like, oh, but my community is all online. Like I'm a part of like Discords and I'm a part of like these things. Like those things are cool. And those are like extra communities to be a part of. And I think that that's like a big trend nowadays is, you know, following like YouTubers, you feel like you're a part of that community. Like everyone has a different term for like what they are, you know? And so I think whatever his name is, like Roman Atwood, who's like a big YouTuber. He did like that big ball pit in his house like a long time ago. Really cool guy. But like everyone that follows him is considered like Roman soldiers. So like anyone that is a part of that community is considered like a Roman soldier. And that's like an idea of community, but we've really like watered down the true definition of it. And so I think that's why the world we live in today, primarily in America, struggles and
Lacks
suffers with true community, true fellowship, true friendship, and actually like has a huge problem with loneliness, even though we're surrounded by people all the time.
Yeah.
We're not actually like having these like in-depth relationships.
Yeah.
So that's where I think just to like get our headspace in the right spot to talk about this is kind of like hitting the reset button on community so that we're all on the same page of what it truly should look like. Because if we only ever have the mindset that community is digital, it is of the future, it is social media platforms, like those kind of things, then we're not going to get anywhere with this discussion, because everything that we're going to talk about going forth from here has to do with people you're actually doing life with. But if you reject the premise of that being true community and what you need in your life, then this is just an irrelevant episode for you. But I think that it's an important message that is outdated to some degree. But I also at the same time believe that we're hitting a time in, like, I would say the digital era where people are realizing how depraved they are. They're realizing how lonely they truly are. And they're truly seeking for not just community, but to
genuine.
but like to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And there's a lot of like enlightenment, I guess, to say. Like, I don't want to like overuse that term, because enlightenment can mean a lot of things, but it's definitely like people are becoming more and more aware of the problems that social media has presented and how it's really shifted the dynamic in relationships and community. And I think that that is a really good sign that we're on the right track, that we really are making progress to kind of not necessarily revert, but at least make an effort to communicate that. And that's, I think, a big thing about us is like our brand is like everything's about intentionality. Like everything that we're working on right now, even the projects that are coming up that we're going to be launching pretty soon, all of it's centered around the idea of being just so intentional with your partner and being so intentional with everything that you do in life. And I think that that's part of where we're kind of shifting back with community, is learning what it means to have intentional community. So for me, all that said, I think good community can be a lot of different things. But some of the big ones to me that really stand out, or at least are important for me in my life, is healthy language, which what I mean by that is like, you know, like you have those friends where you kind of roast each other all the time. And you kind of always like make fun of each other, make crude jokes and those kind of things. Cool, fun. But if that's all you ever do when you communicate with each other, you're not really being productive with it. And at the same time, if it's the opposite, where you're just roasting each other all the time, it might be for all fun and games. But just think about like if you never have actually said something nice to your friend before and they're in your entire relationship with them, that's probably a problem.
Yeah.
You know, like we actually like, even though we take it and we kind of dish it back and we make it seem like this normal thing, we crave for actual encouragement and life spoken into us.
Yeah.
And so if you don't even have a community that does that, then that's already a red flag. The next I would say is kind of a double-edged sword of like consistent involvement and a willingness to be there for others and support them in just every stage of life / actually, and like also involved in your life. This goes back to the whole idea of the social media thing that, you know, community is one thing on the digital world, but community in person is so much different. And when we mean community, we mean people that actually like do life with you on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I will say that the world that we live in now, it's really hard to find community to do life with daily, just because of how busy our schedules are and how we separate ourselves kind of like in these, you know, houses that are,
we don't just
apart.
live right next to the people that we would see.
And it's crazy because in other cultures, you know, it's normalized to live with your parents up until your 40s. Like you can still do life with your family. And I think that like family is the original concept of community, like going back to the Garden of Eden. Like that was all family, you know.
Yeah.
The way we've kind of like restructured community is this idea that community isn't family, it's just friends, or it's only family and it's not friends. And I think that there's a really, like there's a right way and a wrong way to do that, to find balance between the two. And so I think that it's really important to make sure that the community that you have is involved in your life on a consistent basis and know what you're going through. And that involves like honesty, and it involves, you know, being transparent, which means providing spaces to have those conversations. I think that if you don't have community that provides those spaces to ask those questions and to be vulnerable and to have those kind of discussions, it can be really easy to be going through some of the hardest seasons of your life right next to your friends, and they have no idea what's going on. And then what happens is they're like, they eventually find out and they're like, why didn't you tell me this earlier? And it's like, I wanted to, but I didn't feel like there was a right time. And so for me, when I hear that as like me saying like, I wish you would have told me, it's convicted me to realize, wait, I'm a part of the solution in this.
Yeah.
This isn't their fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you should have done more to tell me these things. It should be, I should have done more to reach out to you. I should have done more to ask you more intentional questions. I should have been more honest about what I'm doing in life, because sometimes we see it the opposite way. We want people to be honest with us, but half the time we're not honest with them. And so it's like, you want me to be vulnerable with you, but you're not even vulnerable with me. So why would you expect that from me?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what I was saying about how we just focus so much on like what community can do for us.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm going through a hard time, like you guys should be there for me. But it's you don't think in your own head to, hey, like let me check in on these people more than just when I know they're going through something or I think something's happening. But yeah, just creating like a space for it to be a continual thing that you are constantly checking up on and constantly being aware of. But
yeah. And I would say that, you know, when you go on top of that, it's not just about asking them how they're doing, but like truly caring about how they're doing. But I would even take it a step farther. And we talked about this a lot in the last episode, which is kind of different, but the idea of serving other people. And so going above and beyond just asking how they're doing, but asking, how can you serve them? How can you be a part of their life and help them in that? I think that we miss that part of the equation the most.
yeah.
We'll be like, all right, I'll ask what's going on in your life, but don't ask me to commit to anything more than that. I'm a busy person. I got a lot going on. I already have my own responsibilities. I don't need another thing on my plate. So just tell me how you're doing, and then I'll feel sympathetic for you. But then after that, I got to go home because I got things I got to get done. And that's the part we miss. It's like, how can I be more involved in your life? How can I actually like be a support system for you? What do you need done? Do you need meals made for you? Do you need help with like the work that you're doing right now? Do you need an extra set of hands? Do you need someone to help you move? Whatever it is, like you know, putting yourself out there to ask those questions, I think is like a tremendous and very rare thing to find in like good community.
Yeah.
And
I think too, on the flip side of that, be willing to accept the help that people are offering.
yeah,
I think so often too, we either have like,
that's huge.
you just want to do it all yourself. I have this issue where people are like, how can I help you right now? It's either I just like feel so bad accepting the help. It's like, actually, like, I don't need it. I don't want you to feel burdened by this thing that's going on, or you feel obligated to have to do it.
Yeah.
Like if those people are genuinely trying to be there for you and they're like, please, like allow me to help you. Like, in what way can I serve you the best right now? Do those things.
Yep.
Allow them to do those things for you. But then also obviously do the same for them. But yeah, I just think so often we like reject it, just being like, it's fine. Like, I'll just get through it. And I think it kind of knocks those people down too. It's like, I don't know how, like, you're not letting me be there for you in the way that like they would like to.
Why do you think that we reject or don't allow people to help us in life?
I think it's a pride thing. I think a big part of it is like a pride thing for me. It's like, I want to just be able to do it myself.
Yeah.
Or you're like already embarrassed that something is going on, so you don't want to invite people into it further. I think it's a lot of reasons depending on what like the thing is you're going through. But
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you like push people away, I don't know. If you like to sit and sulk in those certain things that are going on too, can be a big part of it.
Yeah.
It's like you invite people in, you're like, okay, now I have to address it.
Yeah.
And I have to like work on
That's
it
actually
to a
true.
degree, or yeah, it's like people are trying to help me, so now I kind of have this obligation to get better or to work on it because I have people like actively involved in trying to support me in this thing.
Right.
Which is great, but I think we also sometimes have those mindsets of like, I just need to like be in it.
Yeah.
But a healthy community is going to call you out and like allow you or not allow you to sit in that. But
yeah, and that's also a hard thing too, is sometimes like we do like to play the victim card.
Yeah.
But then it's hard as a friend in that situation because you've put yourself out there. They don't want the help. But then do you just stop?
Yeah.
Or do you like push it and be like, stop. I know that you're like this. I'm not even going to like accept your no. I'm just going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
You know, like finding the line in that situation or in those specific situations to be able to do that. Cause
and I think if you are like pushing it, like because the person's not allowing you to, if that causes an issue, obviously wait till the like situation passes and like have another sit down conversation with the person. Like, hey, in these seasons, like I want to be there for you. like, why was what I did like hurtful to you? I don't know. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like addressing it in moments that aren't in the heat of like the season they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I would just say it's even important just to have the discussion now. Don't wait till after it
Yes.
happens.
But if it's like happening or it's something that's like, I've tried
Right.
before, it's like, well, talk to that person now about it. Like, see, like,
yeah.
why was me going out of my way to help you? Why did that offend you? Why did you not
Yeah.
accept it? I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's like a lot of reasons for why we might reject help. I think, perfectly said by you is that it's pride. It's believing that we don't need help, that we can do it by ourselves. But then on top of that, it's also the idea of the victim card. You want to do it, live in it yourself, and you want to sulk in it, and you don't want to actually solve the problem because maybe that's like a tough mental load, or it's a really burdening situation, or maybe it's like super exhausting, or whatever it is, like you don't feel like you can overcome it. And so you're put in a situation where you kind of have to, force yourself to go back into it, and you don't want to do that. And I would just say on top of that too, that it could also be that maybe they fear that by bringing their friends into those situations is going to like negatively impact their life as well. And they don't
like
want
feeling
them
burdened by it.
Yeah, feeling burdened, but they also feel like I don't want to share that burden with you because I don't want to add weight to everything you have going on. I think that a lot of people, I think this is a hard thing too, is when you're in a really struggling season and then other people are in a really struggling season, asking them for help. Cause it's like, I know you're struggling right now, but like, I need your help. And so if everyone's struggling, then you're kind of like, we're all screwed. Or it feels that way at least.
Yeah.
Because other people are going through things. And so, yeah, those situations can be really hard, but I just think that
I think in those seasons you can reflect on like, okay, I know I'm in a tough place, but what can I do for other people right now?
Yeah. And it really depends on
not
what, like,
obviously not expecting it in return. It's like, you don't want to just like be like, okay, I'm going to try to do something for you so that like maybe when you guys can one day do it for me, even though I know you're struggling, like, no, not the right heart posture behind it at all. But just, I don't know, if you're going through a tough time and you know other people are too, just like laying everything down that like, you're like, you can't control your situation a lot of the time. So it's like right now, what can I be doing for you?
That's good.
That can lift you up a little bit more, get you to a better place. But
yeah, that's good. It's being able to identify the difference between what things you can control and what things you can't control. And once you figured out what you can control and the rest that you can't, then find more things you can control. And I think a great thing is going back to serving, finding ways to like get involved with other people's suffering, walking alongside them. That's one of the like greatest forms of love, is to like walk alongside a brother or sister when they're suffering and like be that support for them in whatever fashion it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's also another skill set to know how to do that, because some people are only hardwired to do like handy tasks and like are only good with their hands, but they're not good with like talking. They're not good with like connecting emotionally or whatever it is, like, especially guys. Like, we're not good at being able to sit down and be like, well, let's talk about our feelings. They'd be like, what do you mean? Like, I suppressed those like 20 years ago, So sometimes it's like just a skill in and of itself. Like it's a hill to climb over to even start those conversations. And then once you get there, you realize there's another hill on top of that one, when like you get like over like one hill, and then as you get to the top of it, you see that there's an even bigger mountain behind it. You have
every
to climb
day
up that one
for the past months of our lives.
It's like that.
I'm like, finally, we're not there.
Yeah.
Finally,
So you feel like you're making progress, then you're like, oh my gosh, I have so far to go with this. But like what matters most is starting the journey.
Yeah.
Like making that initiative, or
it's
taking
like first
that initiative.
hill, check.
Exactly. Because once you hit that first hill, it's really hard for you to regress from that hill.
Yeah.
And so it makes it really easy for you to continue to move forward. So I think I know this is kind of like a side tangent about this whole thing of community, but it's just so important to be there in all seasons of life for your friends. I think that sometimes we also have friends in community that are there solely for the fact of like entertainment or for fun. They're there for passing the time. They're there for some kind of conditional set of circumstances. Or maybe it's even that you like have these friends, but it's because you put on a face and you aren't actually that type of person in real life. You just kind of put that on so that you're approved by other people. And those are all different reasons for why like community is bad and how you're not doing it right. And so I think we'll talk about in a minute about why or how you can start to find better community. But I think another big thing to address first is We've kind of talked about it a little bit with the idea of social media and just the overall societal structure that we've redesigned to kind of like promote isolation and independence. But even more than that, the question of why people don't pursue community in the first place. And I think that can be split between two different categories. One can be an intentional and deliberate choice to avoid community, and the other one can be accidental. But let me read a few fun stats for you guys. Not fun. They're actually not very fun. I just say fun stats because if they're stats, they're fun.
What's the word for like, it's not fun, but it's not boring. What's like a good word for that? Mediocre stats. No. Monotone stats.
Monotone stats. They're just your typical stats.
Typical, average,
boring stats.
Run-of-the-mill stats.
Whatever. I have no idea what you're trying to think of. But anyways, these are stats about loneliness. And I want you just to keep this in mind because this has to do with the fact of like, you know, really begging the question, like what are the dangers of neglecting community altogether? So here we go. Number 1, severe loneliness is estimated to increase your likelihood of death by 14%. Low-key makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
Think about like old people that just live in like these like old homes that have no one to talk to. Like, honestly, if you're staring at like a TV screen for the rest of your life, you're like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just feel like you've like done whatever you could.
If physically your body starts to decline.
Yeah.
Like your cardiovascular health.
Yep.
Actually declines.
Yep. Well, it actually is one of those next stats in here. But number 2 is loneliness has been associated with increased internet use, especially Facebook. Duh.
Friends.
Around 9. I don't know why this stat is in there, but it's in there. Around 9% of Australians report experiencing loneliness. This figure could be, this could in fact be much higher given the stigma attached to loneliness. So like people that just don't report being lonely. They don't want to like confess it. What's going on in
Australia?
I don't know, but that's 10% of the population, which is kind of nuts. But at the same time, that's probably true of like America too. Number 4, social rejection and isolation activate the same parts of the brain as physical pain. Being alone hurts. That's a fascinating one. I'm not a brain neurologist. I'm not a brain geek, but that's a fascinating concept that social rejection and isolation activate the same parts of the brain as physical pain. So like it actually does.
I know there's some weird things your body does, like even like the heartbreak syndrome where like if you experience like a heartbreak, someone dying or like you breaking up with someone you love, your heart physically can decline in its health. It's crazy.
Totally. The next one is being lonely means, social isolation impairs immune function and boosts inflammation that can lead to a number of problems like arthritis and diabetes. Next, number 6, being lonely means that you are 29% more likely to have a heart attack. So there goes back to the cardiovascular issue. Number 7, evolutionary psychologists suggest loneliness activates a fight or flight stress response in the body as our ancestors' survival would be severely impacted by social isolation and a lack of social support. Number 8, it is estimated that loneliness and the physical problems associated with it kill more people than obesity. There is a lot of talk about an obesity epidemic, but maybe it's time to talk about loneliness epidemic too. Number 9, loneliness can make us feel physically colder. When study participants thought about a time they felt lonely, they judged the room temperature as actually being lower. And then number 10, chronic loneliness poses as significant a risk for your long-term health and longevity as cigarette smoking. So that's 10 facts right there that literally scream the overall theme that our bodies are not designed to be lonely.
Yeah.
Like it literally wants to shut down.
God created us to be in community.
God literally said when he created Adam that it was not good for him to be alone. Mm-hmm. And so he created a helper, and that is Eve. Yeah. And it's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, all those stats, and you can go look them up yourself if you think that was baloney sandwich. But I mean,
Bologna.
belong. But for the, like, just think about it. Like our bodies just, they shut down. They reject this idea and our bodies freak out. We're
Yeah.
like, this is a panic situation. What is going on? I am designed to be in community and I am not in community right now.
Yeah.
And I'm freaking out. It's like a kid lost at like a grocery store, or, you know, you just are wandering around and you have no idea where you are and you're freaking out and you're having a panic attack because you're not where you're supposed to be. And it's crazy because this is all stemming from the idea that we almost like encourage the idea of loneliness. Not in the sense that we want to call it loneliness. We kind of like, we're not going to use that term, but it's like independence. Like we've now masqueraded the term loneliness with independence. You can do it on your own. You don't need help. You don't need support. You don't need anyone else in your life. You control your own destiny. You control your decisions. It's all about you, not about anybody else. You can figure it out. And because of all those things, it promotes this idea of, you know, isolation to some degree.
Yeah.
Or just not wanting to share your thoughts with other people. And I think that a big part of even just like rejecting community altogether, going back to what I was talking about before, between intentionality and accidental choices for community, the intentional one, you can add to this too, but I think that a huge part of why people intentionally choose to neglect community is typically because they either, one, have been hurt by community in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So some people, one person, maybe a best friend, hurt them, betrayed them, did something ridiculously against them. And so they're like,
You're on guard.
Yeah, you're on guard. Or it could be that you have put yourself out there and you've like faced rejection and you just live in that reality that you're always going to be rejected from community and never accepted for like who you truly are. I don't know if you have any other ones you want to add on top for like why someone would intentionally neglect community.
No, I think those are like the ones that came to mind. The second one, I think I just worded differently in my head, where like people are just very like self-conscious and like scared to put themselves even out there in like the first place.
Yeah.
People just lack confidence in themselves, so why would they then try to go like fit in somewhere when they don't even know who they really are, where they want to be, or what their values are, what their interests are.
Yep.
But yeah, I think those are both.
Totally. And then I would say for the other side of it, when it's accidental, that it's just that it's not even that you are intentionally rejecting the idea of community. You just don't think about it a lot because you just.
Yeah, I think even like overcommitting to like just different aspects of your life where you don't have time. Like you left like no time for you to have like actual intentional community.
Yeah. That's one I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
When you like put too much on your plate to where you don't have any time.
Especially with like work, for example, is a big one for people.
Well, it's typically how it goes. I mean, as you get older, you realize not everyone gets rich. You realize that it's not as easy as those like Shopify ads for doing a drop shipping business make it out to be. And you realize that life is full of a lot of expenses and it can be hard. And so a lot of people work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. And there's also this other culture of like hustle culture where the whole idea is like, I can outwork you. Mm-hmm. So it's like, dude, I did like 80 hours of work last week. And somehow that's like an idea, like almost a status of being more important and being more active, I guess, in life than you. But I'm like, that is so sad. Why are you working and not sleeping and living your life? What are you working 80 hours a week for? You know, like that kind of sucks. Like if you're doing 80 hours
obviously,
a week.
Situations vary. So
look, no, I get that if you have like a second job, I can get those things. But like it depends on like your finances and if you have to like make up debt or you're trying to like pay bills, those things make sense. Sure. Yeah. But I'm talking about when people brag about
it. So yes, I can see. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just the idea of like overcommitment. You just spend all of your time working, hustle culture. The idea is just head down and grind. Like I've been like, I don't want to say a victim, but I've definitely like fallen into that at times. And so it definitely pushes the idea of like, I don't have time for friends. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And we can dive deeper into that mindset a little bit later, but yeah, the overall idea that, you know, sometimes it's accidental, like you didn't intentionally do it, but you did overcommit on your schedule. But other than that, I would say that it's because for the most part, you just don't realize what you're missing out on. I think that we don't think about the pros and cons of community on like a daily basis. We don't like put out a list and we go, what are the pros of me like going and putting myself out there and like meeting people and doing these things, you know?
Yeah.
And we don't look at like the cons of this stuff. We just kind of settle for where we're at and we're content and we think this is good enough.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is that as the digital age continues to evolve, then that level of contentment is being, I would say, shifted with it to where we're going to be so content with just having only Instagram friends and just scrolling through stories and being like, yep, I guess I've checked in on your life.
It makes me so sad.
What makes you so sad?
Just the idea that people are so content just living online like that.
Yeah.
Where they just
know.
don't desire community at all.
But
Like
the
they would
thing
rather
is-
just sit in their room and like.
But that's
be
the
glued to a
thing is
screen.
that in their mind, they believe that that is their version of
I know.
community. So like they don't feel like they're missing out because that they've redefined what community means. And I get it. Like we had quarantine and I got online with like 13 other people almost every single day and we played Call of Duty. And it was super fun. And it was like a fun community. I always look forward to like getting online, playing with them, and we just play nonstop for tons of hours because we had nothing else to do. But that version of community is not the real definition of community.
Yeah.
None of those people know what I'm going through in life on like a day-to-day basis other than being like, oh, how was your day today? You know? So like they don't actually know like my struggles. They don't know like the true like inner parts of me and what I'm going through in life and my desires and my passions and my goals and dreams and struggles and, you know, victories, all of those things. They only know like maybe 10, 15% of it. But I think that's the thing is that the digital era has enforced, or I want to say enforced, it's encouraged this idea of being able to like accept community being only online.
Mhm.
And that's fine. But we're realizing as time goes, like science is catching back up with the Bible, that like you're made to have community in person. Like quarantine and COVID just in general really shed light on more than just the pandemic, but on the other epidemics that were going on as well. And a lot of that had to do with isolation and loneliness.
Yeah.
Like suicide rates are at an all-time high. Depression rates are at an all-time high. Anxiety rates are at an all-time high. Loneliness is at an all-time high. Like everything around the idea of community and like the negative impacts of it are all rising. And it's getting out of control. And it's because people were forced into isolation. They were forced to stay at home and not do anything else. They started working from home, which is fine, but like you're not actually like in community with other people. You don't get to see human faces. You see a screen all day. And then when you're done with that screen for the day, you switch to your other screen for the rest of the day. So we're staring at this giant blinding refresh rate screen that is constantly wiring our brain to stay focused on it, that like we're not actually like seeing eye to eye anymore with human beings. And I think that that's over time, we're going to see that impact continually gets worse. And we'll get to a point where we realize like the digital world will become the regular world, and then the real world will become what the digital world is now. And so it'll be abnormal for you to have real life community because everyone does it online, but they think that that's the actual solution. It's not. Mark Zuckerberg thinks that he can revolutionize community by creating the metaverse. And so you can spend time in this digital world through these goggles and spend time with people and think that that will actually suffice for community. Like that's ridiculous. That is the farthest thing from what God actually designed for us to do. And to think that you can restructure society and say that this is how community should be done, bananas.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot of people either intentionally or unintentionally abandon community or reject community. But I think that both sides have to be more intentional with actually like understanding the ramifications of abandoning community. And that goes back to those 10 facts that I gave about loneliness, but so much more than that. Like it impacts the way that you can like put yourself out there and grow. Like the community you have is there to push you.
You're limiting yourself so much.
Yeah, it's a self-limiting factor. You don't have anyone there to encourage you. No one there to celebrate your victories. No one there to hold you accountable when you're not living up to like your own, even like your own code of ethics. If you're not a Christian, you probably still have some code of ethics for how to conduct yourself in life. And if you're not acting that way, you probably want some people to be like, dude, you're kind of being an a-hole right now. You know, like if you don't have those people in your life to tell you those things, you're never going to learn. You'll never have any, it's like you'll never have any true reflection of what your decisions impact the world with, because no one's telling you whether or not they're good or bad. You just do them. and you go back home. So like you yelling at someone in like a phone call, or you like yelling at your boss, or you gossiping about this thing, or you being super pessimistic about life, you do those things and then you just go on with your life, but no one holds you accountable to those things.
Yeah.
So like accountability is so huge for it, but like it's such a self-limiting thing. Like community, and I know this kind of sounds more like the self-centered kind of stuff, but like a big part of community is that it is made to help you grow. So like while you can find ways to serve and get involved and do those things, at the same time, your community should be pouring into you. They should be encouraging you. They should be keeping up with your life and what's going on, finding ways to be praying for you, or finding ways to support you, or to get involved with your life more, you know, asking more deep questions and really like pushing you to be more thoughtful about where you are in life and in a season of reflection. Like we should always be in a season of reflection. Mm-hmm. There is always so much to learn and so much to grow from in every season of life. And community is one of the best ways to push us towards that. But there's a million reasons for why community is so good for us. And if you only I would just challenge like anyone, like if you even just take like one chance to go and like put yourself out there, then like I want to celebrate that, because that is the step in the right direction. And not to give up when you don't find community that first time you put yourself out there, but realize what's so important is just starting that journey. And that's kind of like transitioning to the next section, I think, is just how can you find like good community? Like if you are someone right now who feels like you're struggling with community, how would you encourage them to get involved with one?
I mean, first I would say figure out what are you interested in? Like figure out where are you spending the most time? Where would you like to spend more time? Like what are you interested in that you just haven't put yourself out into?
Yeah.
If you're a Christian, a big one is church.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a Christian, come to church.
There you go. Problem solved.
Yep, problem solved. That's all you need. But you can attend every Sunday, and you're not going to just meet people without putting yourself out there. Mm-hmm. So join a life group, join a Bible study, come early before service, stay later after service, volunteer. And that's just within like the church community of different ways you can get involved, but also volunteer out, like just in general, in your life. Yeah. Go find something that you're passionate about that you want to get involved with. You're going to find like-minded people there.
Right.
Who most likely have the same values and morals and beliefs as you do. Mm-hmm. If you're in school, get involved. Go attend those games. Go to all the events they're having, the social things.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're at work, I don't know, just like even chatting with the people that you work with.
Yeah.
Inviting them to do things after work, get to know them outside of the workplace.
Yep.
There's just so many things you can do. And if there's none of those things happening around you, be the person to initiate those things.
Yeah.
Like if, I don't know, the people you work with aren't doing stuff, be like, hey, what are your thoughts on happy hour?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I know this is like a silly example, but like even just starting like a fantasy football league with your coworkers is like such an easy and harmless way to like initiate a relationship and be able to connect with them.
And I think that's big. Like I'm saying like, go start an event. It's like, no, but start small. Just starting like to make those connections and those relationships and like figure out kind of what is something that you guys can all do together or chat about or have an interest in that can start building that relationship up more to a point where then you guys can actually do something together and be more involved. Yeah. Obviously don't meet people for the first time and spill your guts on deep and dark secrets and things you're going through. Like, no, like, but
boundaries.
Yeah, have some boundaries there, wait it out. But yeah, just like establishing the type of community you're looking for is super important, and really just putting yourself in all those positions to be able to find those people in those communities. But
I think what's so interesting is I was listening to a podcast. The guys that I'm listening to, they're not believers, but they were talking about this idea of loneliness and of community, and they were saying kind of the same things. It's just like there's like a new Netflix series or something that came out about like how to live to 100, and one of the big like themes of it is community and surrounding yourself with good community. And they kind of got on like a whole tangent about loneliness and stuff. But it is one of the things that they talked about is like they said that they thought that one of the main reasons why people get involved with like religious communities is because like it's a community they can get involved with, and like people are looking to be a part of something bigger. They kind of like mesh it in with all these other things where it's like, oh, if you're a brand, you want to be a part of something bigger, like join our like revolution, join the movement, those kind of things. Cooper, you're just a little needy right now.
Cooper's our dog and he has some things to say.
For those of you watching on video. But it's unique because if you think about it, every other form of community out there usually is predicated on one type of activity or hobby. And so everyone got the licks in there.
Okay.
Some ASMR for you guys.
He's been kind of needy all day, and I've been pushing him away because Saya's been sick.
Well, then we're gonna have a dog for most of this. So, but if you think about it, it's like if it's fitness, it's about fitness. If it's hiking, it's about hiking. And like those are great things. You can connect with community about it, but usually like the common denominator between you guys is that specific type of hobby.
Yes.
So if it is like a sport, then it would be the sport. If it's fantasy, it's fantasy. If it's a certain art and craft, it's this. If it's hiking, it's this. If it's weightlifting, it's this. Whatever it is, like it's that specific hobby. The one unique thing I think about religious communities is that it's not predicated on a specific activity.
There's so many different backgrounds.
It is
interests and
almost like
hobbies.
a philosophy, but it is more than that. It's like your true belief and worldview. And so when you align with people that share the same worldview as you, then you can connect on so many other things that you do, even if you're in different categories. Like you, like, let's just say hypothetically, I'm just a photographer and you're just an esthetician. But like we can connect at a church community and get to know each other really well, but we're in totally different groups where we have very different interests.
Yeah.
But the common denominator is that we both believe in Jesus as our Lord and Savior. And so I think that that's just such a fascinating idea of concept for community, because most people encourage community, but the world doesn't have that like readily available access to community like the church exists to be. Like the church exists to be community. That's literally the purpose of it. And you get involved in like a church and they have tons of ways you can get involved. So like that's definitely like the number one way to get involved in a community is to go find a local church and get involved with it. You know, part of my testimony from growing up is that I've always been raised in the church, but I went through a really dramatic season of loneliness between the ages of about 10 to like 15/16. And those seasons were lonely because I didn't have like any friends. And because I didn't have any friends, I got involved at church again because we kind of took a break from it. And when I got back involved, I honestly didn't even care for any of the religious stuff. I kind of like learned the Christianese language. I knew like what the Bible verses were and could say them and pretend to be like the leader of things. But I wasn't reading my Bible. I wasn't praying. I wasn't doing any of those things. But I went there because I felt seen and I felt like I had a community. And so like even at like the bare minimum, and I don't like encourage that behavior. Like I definitely had to be born again when I moved down here to Phoenix and had to like change that mindset. But regardless, like community exists. Like that's why it exists there. And so I think that that's just so cool about what the church is and why it exists is that you can get involved with it regardless of your background, regardless of your interests or any of those things. And you can get involved and be seen by people who want to love on you and want to like be a part of your community and want to be there to pour into you and help you grow in your relationship with Jesus, which should be the number one relationship that we prioritize in the world. And you can't find that anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
You can find a fitness club to be a part of. You can find like a Facebook group for like if you're a mechanic or whatever, if you're like interested in that kind of stuff, or if you're like a big Jeep guy, whatever it is, like Jeep guy or girl, you can go find a Facebook group for those things. That's fine, but that's just like one aspect of community. It's not your actual community, but like a local church, you will find true community with those things. I would just tie into my answer tie into your answer that. And you kind of like nailed all of it. You kind of just threw it all in there for me. So I don't really have a lot to say, but yeah.
Took your words away.
Took my words away.
Took the words right out of your mouth. That's Boof saying.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways,
yeah.
What did I take out?
It just depends on like what season of life you're in for how you
Yes.
answer this question. You know, if you're someone that's in high school or you're in college, the best ways to get involved or like find community is go get more involved at your school. They have tons of clubs, tons of communities, tons of activities that are going on, sporting events, extracurricular activities that they do. You have a class with the same 30 people in multiple classes, probably every single day, or at least a couple days a week. You can get to know some of them a little bit better. And that's the crazy thing is it's like, well, how do I do that? Because the first step is, okay, I get it. I need to go get involved with my communities more. The second step, which is probably the hardest step, is how do I do that? Because no one knows how to put themselves out there anymore because everyone has an anxiety attack when they get a phone call. Like they don't even want to answer phone calls anymore. They're like, why are you trying to call me? Just shoot me a text. It's like
We're so avoidant.
So avoidant. So like
human
why would we
interaction.
expect this next generation to be able to like put themselves out there and greet someone face to face and be like, "Hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm new around here. I'm trying to meet more people. Just curious, like what's your name?" Like no one would do that. They're like, "Hey, I'm Jeremy." They're like, "Lissa." Be like, "Did you do the homework last week?" You'd be like, "Yep." And I'd be like, "Nice. Can I copy it? I didn't do it." Like
Friends.
friends. And that, my friends, is true community. No, but that's seriously, it's so easy when you're in those stages because you
Yeah.
are constantly surrounded by people.
And I was going to say that too, where take advantage of the season you're in because it's
Yep.
probably just going to get harder to find community the longer you go.
Oh, it
without
always does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're learning that now, even like now that,
Yep.
like, obviously you start single. So easy to find community. Yes, you might struggle with it a little bit, but realistically, that's the easiest it will probably ever be for you to find community.
Yep.
And then you find your friend group and then eventually you start dating. Gets a little bit harder. You got to split your time, your priorities shift. You know, you leave school, now you have work and possibly a relationship, and you're also trying to find community. And then, oh no, you're married.
Yep.
And then you also have like your family and then their family, just like
Yep.
more families involved. And then,
Yeah.
oh, look, you're having kids. Kids are now top,
Yeah.
like up there in priority as well. And it just gets
Yeah.
so much harder
It
as you go
does.
along to kind of carve out time and like find,
Yeah.
yeah, you just have to be way more intentional the older you get.
Yep.
And so if you have the time now,
Yeah.
Just
And I would say the other thing
take
too, though, is
advantage of
that
it.
for a lot of people, community, a big part of it is family.
yeah,
But the hard part is that you have a lot of families that are really great, and we know friends that are really close to their families. We also know friends that have no connection to their family anymore because they're broken, because they're divorced, because they have neglected them or they have pushed them away or abused them or whatever it is. There's just, it's so heartbreaking because so many relationships with families don't exist today, and we take it for granted every single day.
yeah,
Some people haven't like talked to their father in decades. Some don't even have a father to talk to. And like the ones that do like have a father, they like totally take it for granted. And they're like, yeah, I'll talk to my dad whenever I feel like it in a couple of years or whatever it is, or I'll talk to my son later on in life when things, you know, settle down a little bit more, whatever it is. It's just like we don't put ourselves out there even for like our family, even when we have the opportunity to.
yeah,
And I think that's a huge missed thing too, is that community isn't just about like going and finding more friends. I think that's a huge part of it, but you also have family, and family is such a beautiful thing to like have in your life because they know you better than anyone else. And they can be a huge support system for you in so many seasons of life. And I
Yeah.
think that most cultures outside of America know that and they live that really well. I don't think that we do it very well in America. I think that's
Yeah.
something that we struggle with a lot. And because of that, it negatively impacts the way we can do relationships and truly build community. So that's like big for high schoolers and college students. I think for anyone that's like maybe like a fresh graduate or just fresh out of college or is like a young adult, I think that there's a couple different ways. Obviously, like trying to stay connected with the college students that you just graduated with. I think that a lot of it really boils down to like the central theme of just intentionality, like putting yourself out there and asking questions, connecting with people, just texting your friends. Like I think we just overthink it all the time with like, how do I do this? Where do I start? What do I do? It's just like, go text your friend that you haven't hung out with in a while. Like, what are they up to nowadays? Or it's like, okay, well, you disconnected with some friends from like a while ago, reconnect with them, like see what they're up to. And just text them, shoot them a call, be like, let's go get coffee. I think we like, maybe like we overthink it as like, oh my gosh, like
very much so. We overthink it.
we're about to like make a decision for like who our community is going to be for the next like decade. And like, do I really want to spend the next decade with this person? It's like, why are we overthinking these things? Just put yourself out there, connect with people, and just ask questions and get involved. And then from there, continue to move forward. And I think a big thing that I think I'm learning in life is we have friends. And there's actually a lot of times where we'll meet friends of those friends. Like they have other friends and we'll meet them. And we typically kind of brush off the interaction and we're going to be like, oh, hey, I'm Jeremy or whatever it is. And then we don't like actually try to make a relationship with that person. We just kind of like wave it off. But if like we're even more intentional with those like
Yeah.
interconnected relationships that we start to build just from friends of friends, and we put ourselves out there to like get to know them, know their name, ask questions about them, and actually start to like care about them, you will grow your community very quickly.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how fast it happens. To be honest, I see tons of the same people all the time in like other communities, but I never put myself out there to like actually connect with them and learn their name.
Yeah.
And for a lot of them, I've seen them so many times. I'm like, look, I know your face. I don't know your name. Like, that's just like the reality of it. But like,
Yeah.
if I just put myself out there and like ask questions and just sought to like actually build relationships with the people, I would build my community. and that's big for anybody
That's
that's
good.
trying to like find
Yeah.
friends. Your friends also have friends. Connect with those friends too. We shoot a lot of weddings, and sometimes we meet groomsmen who don't know the other groomsmen. They're like, yeah, like I'm a cousin, or like, yeah, I'm a brother from out of town, or something like that. And it's like, okay, cool. But like, if you want to like build out your community, or just like learn to like network, I guess to say that's like a business term, but like if you want to like actually like connect with more people, just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, ask questions, ask like really good questions that generate good conversation. I know these are all like added skills on top of one another, but the only way to get better at those things is to just practice it. You can't be like, oh, I got to go take this course first, and I got to figure out how to like ask better questions, and then I can go and do it. It's like, just do it. Just ask questions, and you'll just figure it out as you go along. Like, the most important thing is just to start doing it. I'm a very like shoot from the hip kind of guy. I'm like also a very fire and then aim kind of guy, because I'm like, I'll figure it out as I go. And honestly, like, you do. So if you just put yourself out there like that, you'll figure it out eventually. But for anybody older than that, that's where we're kind of in the territory of like our stage, which is you're married and you have a kid. This is the stage where things get really hard, because one, you might not always have the choice with being able to choose your schedule, because you have a baby that has a fairly consistent schedule to some degree of like when they need to go to sleep, when they need to be fed, needing to change them.
Or even just older kids with school schedules and like obviously just
I guess I'm more just saying just like the very early stage.
You're
like
in
us.
our stage, yes, we're thinking of.
But like, yeah, like they have schedules and they have things. And so you can't always work around those things as much. And so that definitely makes it hard. And I think that the way that we have been trying to tackle finding new community, because this is something we struggle with a little bit, and not like finding new community because we still have community, but getting more involved with like very like Christ-centered, like very intentional community that's focused on growing you and pushing you closer to Jesus.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, out of everything that we've already said, one of the key components of good community is people that push you closer to Jesus. I think we miss that, which I think is, I don't want to say like sinful, but sorry, Lord. But like that should be like the number one most important thing, is that they push you closer to Jesus.
Yeah.
If they don't push you closer to Jesus, or if they're pushing you away from Jesus, get out of that community ASAP.
Yeah.
They're not doing any good for you. Like, scripture is pretty adamant about surrounding yourself with other like-minded believers so that you grow together, not putting yourself around those that don't have the same values.
Would you say like, you said like leave that community?
Yeah.
Would you say leave it, or would you say like seek out more community, like those that can also be life-giving to you, but then also try to be life-giving to that community?
Yeah, I think that
So I wouldn't say just like abandon them, but if if like the seeds are planted and
the thing is
kind of
you just have to, one, that's also circumstantial, because you have to gauge what that community is as far as how it impacts you, because if it's negatively pushing you away from Jesus, you need to pretty quickly separate yourselves from them.
I see what you mean.
Because if they're like always pushing you to like go and do drugs and like do like really like sinful things, then it's like, I need to stop doing these practices now.
I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
But if you're like hanging with friends where you're like, okay, you're not necessarily believers, but I don't want to spend more time because you're not pushing me closer to Jesus, you just have to learn to find balance, because it's really important that you have that other side of the community that is pouring into you so you can get back out there, And I think that that's where we miss it, is that we don't have that other side of the community. So finding that community and then putting it in balance, I think is really huge for that. But I think that regardless, they just need to be pushing you closer to Jesus. And the best way to do that is to get involved with Bible studies. It's getting more involved with your church, serving at your church, connecting with people when you're at church. All of those things, I think, are like the easiest ways to do it. And that's what we've been doing. We've been connecting with friends and going to Bible studies, getting to meet new people, getting to be in the Word, and getting to share life with them a little bit, and kind of have some moments and seasons of like vulnerability. And all of those things I think have been super beneficial for us, because it's shown us that we can like actually have community if we just put in the effort for it. It kind of felt hopeless for a little bit that we couldn't find something, and we had tried a few different things, but I feel like if you just keep trying, you'll start to find some success in it. You really will. You keep pushing and you keep fighting for it, you'll eventually get there. It just takes time, and it takes like perseverance. You're going to have to challenge yourself, and you're going to have to go through seasons of growth, and you might have to deal with a lot of letdown or betrayal or deceit and lies and poor community and those kind of things. But like, you have to keep moving forward. You can't linger on the past mistakes and past relationships and then let that predetermine how life will go for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then they win and you lose. It is not the other way around. You're not getting the better end of the deal by being bitter at them and bitter about your past relationships and past mistakes and thinking that like they are like you're somehow like in like the royal seat compared to them, or the holy seat, and like they're the ones getting screwed, and like your life is better. It's not. You're not moving on from it. You're lingering on it. You're, glooming in it. And that doesn't do you any good in life. It doesn't push you anywhere forward. It just holds weight down to keep you back in life. So you definitely have to find, a way to move past those things and to push on. And if you keep going long enough and you persevere, I promise you'll find something. But then even past that, the last one is, if you're beyond us, we will say, first off, we haven't experienced it yet. So we can't say from experience how to find community. But I will say that there are some common suggestions, which I would think are pretty obvious. So I'm just going to say the obvious. But if you have kids and you have kids that are involved in sporting events and school and in extracurricular activities, there's other parents. You can connect with other parents there. Those
Mom's
kids might have friends.
dad's
Moms and
club.
dads clubs. You can like find ways to get involved with that. You can still get involved with other coworkers. If you want to join like Facebook groups for your interests, you can join those. Get involved with actual physical activities where you can be face to face with these people. You can get involved with your local church. You can go and, put yourself out there and just go like find like an organization or nonprofit you want to serve at, and you can volunteer at, and like you'll find really good people in those places too. Like there are just so many options for how you can put yourself out there, even though you might have kids. I think that what's important is, obviously they're going to have a huge schedule and you have to work around that, and you're going to have your own schedule with work that you're going to have to figure out, and you have your spouse's schedule you also have to work around. So you're already juggling 3 schedules. I think what's important is talking and sitting down with your spouse, figuring out if this community you're going to do together or if this is going to be like separate community, and then finding ways to prioritize that time into your schedule to allow each other to do that. It's like a sacrificial move where it's like, hey, if you are getting involved with this women's group that's on like Wednesday mornings from 9 to 11, by the way, it's 9, not 9:30.
Stop it.
Sorry, that was a low blow.
I messed up the time for a Bible study I was joining.
But anyways, like you go into that, me saying like, hey, I'll hang back and I'll be with Sai for the day so you can go do that. Like that's like me being like, hey, I know I can get work done, but like I'm going to do this for you. And then if it's for me, it's like, hey, I got to go get this thing done, or like I want to go join this guy's group or do this thing. You're like, I got you. Like I'm with Sai. We got to figure it out. It's on these days of the week. It's like on this Tuesday of the week or whatever it is. Like, I got you. Like go and do it, but it's like it's a back and forth kind of thing where we're just finding ways to be able to sacrifice for each other and open those doors and allow each other to do that. If we're kind of always in this feeling of like, life is crazy, I need you around the house, I need your help for these things, and like you're constantly pulling each other back and forth, being like, I need you for this, you can't go do other things. It's like you're limiting not only your spouse with what they can do in life and how they can grow, which is a very important aspect of like a relationship, is allowing them their separate space to grow. But even more than that, it limits yourself, because you're also telling yourself you aren't capable of some of those things when like you probably really are, but you're just trying to find a cop out, or you're trying to find a way to like not have to handle more responsibility. But it's like, I think you can manage those things, but you're just kind of making excuses. So don't limit yourself in that, and then don't limit your partner in that either. So like making sacrifice and pushing them to get involved with those communities is probably one of the best ways when you're in that later stage of like adulthood and parenthood to be able to like put yourself out there. If you don't have kids, that's even easier. You have pretty free schedules, unless you're like a workaholic and you're working all the time, then obviously you have to work around those things. But for the most part, the same rules apply. Push each other to get involved in the community, find ways to do it, and make sure that you guys are allowing each other to have that time to go be involved in that community. And then also find ways to do community together. Don't only have separate communities and then not do anything together. I think that can be like a huge like red flag if you practice the idea of only having community with you and your side of things, and then they have their side of things. And when you do that, it creates a disconnect between the couple, and then you don't feel like you have community together. So if your community starts struggling and mine's thriving, then you feel like you're struggling, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot harder to go through that season together, because for me, it's like life is great, and there's no reason to have to fight or put myself out there for anything for you, because, I'm good.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on. But for you, you might be like, I really need to figure this out. And I'm like, well, I still need to go to guys group. And you're like, I don't have anything right now. And it's like, well, hope you can figure it out, So like, it's important, and that might still happen, but it's just important to make sure that you both have community together as well.
Yeah.
Not separating yourselves. So anyways, I think that's what we got for community. It was a lot of things. I think that was really great discussion. And Cooper clearly wants his snoot touched. But we got a couple last things for you guys. And so let's take it away. We got content, comment, and challenge. Liz, what is your content for the week?
My content for the week is the Hulu television show Only Murders in the Building.
Oh.
Season 3.
Okay.
I think 3.
Is that
Selena-
Tom Hanks? No, that's
No.
Steve Martin.
Yes.
Yep.
Steve Martin, Selena Gomez. Gotta say, I don't know if it's just because I am not as sit down and watch it, and I've been kind of like watching it while I'm doing other things. Hasn't kept my attention as much as the other seasons.
Oh.
So I don't know if I'm just not watching it correctly, you know? I'm not like investing enough into it.
I'm not reading the subtitles at the right place.
But it's not as exciting. It's not like drawing me in as much as other seasons have. So I could be wrong. You might totally disagree with me on that. But yeah, like I'm watching it and I'm going to finish it because I have to know. Excuse me. I have to know who killed him. But yeah, we'll see.
So if someone's hearing for this for the first time, should they watch season 1?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think 1 and 2 are both very interesting. I liked them. I enjoyed them. They're entertaining.
I think it would make more sense for them to start on season 1 if they're new
I'm
to
just
it.
saying season 3's out. And
Okay.
if you have been watching it,
All right. That's
let
fine.
me know if you agree with me on season 3. But if you haven't watched it, go watch 1 and 2 for sure.
Okay.
I think I watched 1 and 2 back to back. So it was like, I was still in the hype of it.
Yep.
It's been a while. Season 3 just came out. So I'm like, if I lost the hype, I've watched a lot of other shows since then.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right. Good.
it's my content.
Sweet. Well, mine is I'm going to piggyback off of what I said
Last
2 episodes ago, which was that there is a new series.
Ahsoka.
Why'd you say that like it was some anime?
Because
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. I felt
No.
right.
Ahsoka is the Star Wars series. It's out right now. I gotta say, it is absolutely bananas. It is probably the greatest Star Wars content that we have seen since, I will say, the prequels. It has
The
been
prequels.
since the early 2000s. We have not seen Star Wars content as good as this. I think that this trumps The Mandalorian. Might be a hot take, but it is incredible content, and everyone that are fan favorites are blowing up their socials raving about this show. So if you have not started the series, start watching it because it is incredible. If you're not a Star Wars fan, then you might not get a lot of the references that there are in it, but if you can, check it out. But if you're not a Star Wars fan, you don't want to check that out. Our boy Denzel Washington just came out with Equalizer
out?
3. We haven't had a chance to go see it yet.
Oh, it's in theaters.
It's in theaters right now.
Take me on a date. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Okay.
So Equalizer 3 is out. So if you guys have not seen the Equalizer series, we watched it on our baby moon and it was honestly like really fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this
We were on a Denzel kick.
Yeah.
We were like all of Denzel's movies. But yeah,
we watched
Equalizer
like
was
a
good.
ton of his stuff.
Mhm.
He just
Don't ask why. I think we just watched everything else. And
We
we were
watched
like, we watched
Equalizer.
one and we were like, let's just keep going. And then I think a tab popped up where it was like Denzel Washington, all of his
Yeah,
movies.
But
We
then
were like,
we also told my parents about it. My dad like suggested
Oh, they
some different
recommended
movies
some,
because they're
yeah.
like, yeah, Denzel's got great movies. So I
Yeah.
was like, that's not what my dad sounds like.
good old Mike.
Oh, Dad, you should watch that series.
Not at all with your dad.
Sounds like
No,
this guy.
That's not your dad.
No, it's not my dad by any means. But Equalizer 3 is out, so if you want to go see that in theaters, it's a great movie. A lot of action, but it's just fun. Denzel's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's fun.
Wait, I have another content.
Okay, sure.
It's my own content.
It's your own content. Okay.
I've been making content. It's been fun.
Are you going to elaborate on this?
No, that's it. No, I'm just
How
kidding.
would people follow or watch this?
I was waiting to see if you'd look at me to be involved.
Be involved in what?
Me telling my thing.
What?
I've been making. Okay, I've only made it once, but I've been trying to actually capture all the little moments of our lives a lot more
Yeah.
and not overthink it. Like just like the little things, the little moments that bring me joy, or
Yeah.
just like I want to remember this. I want to like just capturing the joy throughout a week, especially when we have like really busy weeks or weeks that feel like a lot or they flew by.
Yeah.
Just like being able to like do weekly recaps of just no like music over it, just like the raw sounds of little moments and little things happening. It's like a quick recap
Yep.
of like here are like the highs from the week and just little moments of it. But I've been making those and it's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Very
So,
cool.
You know,
So go watch her content.
yeah, go watch my content.
It'll last about 3 minutes.
It really means nothing to anyone else except for us.
Nice.
Our families also really like it because they like to see like their grandkids.
course.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm like, it's not for anyone else. It really is genuinely for me to look back on, and I love it.
So unless you become our grandma or grandpa,
you won't care
as
about my
much.
content.
But we got a cute freaking kid, so it kind of makes up for it. All right. Well, outside of that, comment. We don't have a comment this week. I also forgot to put out a post onto our Instagram that asked for comments for this week. So that's on me. I dropped the ball. I need to get better at it. We're going to get on top of that. So if you're listening to this and you haven't left us a comment or a question or a shout out or any of those things, fill it out either in the Spotify little drop down where you can add it there, or send it to us via our social media. We would
Or you
love
can
to,
text me at 623. I'm just kidding.
and you can reach out to us for us to shout it out or answer a fun question for you. So that's that. The last one is challenge. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
You go first because I went first last time.
Okay. This is a very random challenge, and I don't know why I thought of this, but I had to. And I really hope that one person does this. My challenge for the weekend is to open a Roth IRA account.
Why?
Because it is a retirement savings account.
I guess, yeah. They always say like the younger you start it.
Young couples,
more,
young individuals, the earlier you start, the better it is because of compounding interest and how it works. But if you were to start now at like the age of 24,
math is
and
coming.
you were to put away $200 a month for the next 6 years,
I've actually seen these videos, and it's insane how much money you can make.
you would have almost $2 million in your bank account to pull out when you are 65.
Do we have a Roth IRA?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
And
cool.
we're contributing monthly to it.
We are?
Yes.
Since when?
Since like, I don't know, 8 months ago. We started back up again or something like that.
Nice. Look at us go.
Yeah. But it's like one of those like really safe and secure ways to open up an account. You can either do the investing yourself, which I highly do not.
Wait, let me just clarify. I knew one existed. I just didn't know if we were still contributing to it right now.
Thank you.
I'm not
for
like
clarifying.
completely unaware. I know it existed.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you guys don't know what the Roth IRA is, check it out. But it's basically like it's an investment account for like a retirement fund that is not taxed when you pull the funds out. I believe the way it works is that it taxes it as you make earnings as you're going, but they don't do a lump sum tax like you
As you
would if
pull
you
it
were
out.
to do like a
Don't you have to
stock
be
market
over the
investment.
age of something though?
Yes,
over-
59 and a half.
And a half. Okay.
Yes. So that is technically the age when like you can pull from the account. But if you let it sit for like a couple more years, that compounding interest will continue to grow. So you can find investment firms that do this. You can find like management firms that will handle your funds for you. There's like sometimes minimum amounts you have to put into it. But if you just actually like look up and become aware of what a Roth IRA is, and you start on it like even now early, just putting like even like $100 away every single month, I promise that your like 55-year-old self is going to thank you when you look at that bank account and you have like $800,000 in it. And in a matter of a couple of years, you get to pull that out and you have literally like $1 million, which is nuts.
Crazy.
So that's my random challenge for you guys this week, is to open up a Roth IRA account if you have not yet. Do not make excuses. Do not wait any longer.
Here's the issue. Banks are closed on... Wait, is it through a bank?
Yeah, it's through banks.
You said this is the weekend challenge, and they
Yeah.
can't do it on Sunday, so they have to do it on Saturday.
Well, you can technically open up Roth IRA accounts with banks with like, I'm pretty sure you can just do it online. You just
There's
put in
a
the
slight
information.
flaw in his challenge, but in case, just try to do it by next Friday.
Well, technically it's Friday. If they're listening in like the daytime,
A Friday to Friday.
they can do it today.
I'm giving them extra time to do the challenge.
Wow, how gracious of you.
I know.
I'm only giving you 24 hours or I will fine you and I will equalize you.
You have a week.
All right, what's your challenge?
My challenge. All right. My challenge is pick one day, turn off your phone, leave it at home,
Whoa.
tell someone where you're going so you're safe, you know?
Whoa.
But leave your phone at home off and go out and be so present and do something. Do
Whoa.
something, you know?
Go watch a movie.
Go
Go
buy a new phone.
Go buy the new iPhone 15.
Turn off your phone, leave it at home, and go buy the new phone.
And then that way you can be present while still getting a present.
Yeah, go be present. Honestly, just go show up at your friends' houses. Don't expect to stay, but I think just like pop in and be like, what are you doing? And be like, I'm just being present. Just
You should have like some kind of like auto voicemail where it's like, hey, this is Alyssa. I shut my phone off for the entire day. So if you want to find me,
good luck. XOXO. I just think that would be so fun for a day to like completely leave it at home too. It's not just like, I'm just going to turn off notifications or.
I feel like that sounds really fun, but I don't know how realistic that is for people.
I think it's so realistic when you have like a day where you, like your chill day. You got nothing going on.
Sure. But like you say, yeah, I guess you can leave it at home if you want to.
You're the type who couldn't leave it at home.
Well, I mean, we work from home, so I would have to leave it in like the bedroom. So that
I'm not saying on a work day.
Oh,
this
weekend?
is yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So a weekend. So like a day where you're just normally gonna like do what you got to do, have fun. If you just need to go run errands, like do stuff, sure, but also just leave your phone.
You know what you should do? You should print out your directions.
MapQuest.
MapQuest.
Did you ever use MapQuest?
No, I use Google Maps because I'm not a weirdo.
MapQuest was the OG.
MapQuest? More like MopQuest.
Google Maps is newer than MapQuest.
Okay, but Google Maps is like what everyone uses. And
I'm
no
talking
one
about
uses
the ancient
MapQuest.
times. The ancient times.
Yeah, the ancient times.
Yeah.
Oh
MapQuest.
my goodness.
Yeah, that's my challenge
Sounds
for you.
like a video game.
Pick a day, turn off your phone, leave it at home. Go have a fun day. Honestly, don't like you can either plan it out by all means. If you have a plan, do your thing. But if you don't have a plan, just leave. See what happens. Flip a coin, turn right or left, see where you end up.
And start a Roth IRA account.
Start a Roth IRA account. IRA.
Can I get your phone number so I can confirm the text message that's coming in? Oh, sorry, I turned my phone off.
And this is why I give you till
present.
next Friday because I knew that our challenges would overlap.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, so.
Very cool. Sweet.
Cool.
Well, hope you guys loved this episode. Let us know. Leave us a review. Share your thoughts. Share your words of encouragement and constructive criticism. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you guys next Friday. Peace out.
Bye.